How did one of the most powerful empires in human history become the modern nation we now call Iran? For over 2,500 years, Persia stood at the crossroads of civilization. It ruled vast territories, connected global trade routes, and influenced cultures across 3 continents. Yet, the Iran we see today is the result of centuries of transformation, conquest, cultural revival, and revolution. This history documentary on Iran history explores how the ancient Persian Empire rose to power, survived invasions, reshaped its identity, and eventually became the modern state of Iran. Chapter 1: The Ancient Iranian World. The story of Iran history begins long before the Persian Empire itself. The Iranian plateau, stretching between Mesopotamia, Central Asia, and the Indian subcontinent, has been inhabited for thousands of years. Early civilizations developed agriculture, trade routes, and fortified cities in this region. By the first millennium BC, groups known as Indo-Iranian peoples had settled across the plateau. Two groups eventually became especially important: the Medes and the Persians. The Medes formed an early kingdom in western Iran, but it was the Persians who would change world history. Around 550 BC, a Persian ruler named Cyrus the Great defeated the Median king and united the region under his rule. This moment marked the birth of one of the most influential empires in history. Chapter 2: The Persian Empire Rises. Under Cyrus the Great, the Persian Empire expanded rapidly. Within a generation, Persia controlled vast territories stretching from Anatolia and Egypt to Central Asia and India. This made the Achaemenid Empire one of the largest political systems the ancient world had ever seen. But Persia's power was not built only on military conquest. The empire developed a remarkably advanced system of administration. Local governors, known as satraps, ruled different provinces. A network of royal roads connected distant regions, allowing messages to travel quickly across thousands of kilometers. Perhaps the most famous example of Persian engineering was the royal road, which linked major cities of the empire. Persia also introduced a degree of cultural tolerance rarely seen in ancient empires. Conquered peoples were allowed to maintain their religions, languages, and local traditions. One famous example was Cyrus allowing Jewish exiles in Babylon to return to their homeland and rebuild Jerusalem. Because of this policy, Cyrus is sometimes remembered as one of the earliest rulers to support religious freedom. Yet Persia's power would soon bring it into conflict with another rising civilization. Chapter 3: Persia and the Greek World. In the early 5th century BC, Persia's expansion reached the eastern Mediterranean. There it encountered the independent Greek city-states. Tensions between the two worlds led to the greco-persian wars, some of the most famous conflicts in ancient history. Greek forces faced overwhelming odds, yet in battles like Marathon, Thermopylae, and Salamis, the Greeks managed to resist Persian expansion. These wars did not destroy the Persian Empire, but they did weaken its influence in the western Mediterranean. More than a century later, a young Macedonian king named Alexander the Great launched an invasion of Persia. In a series of decisive battles, Alexander defeated the Persian king Darius III. By 330 BC, the Achaemenid Persian Empire had collapsed. Yet Persian civilization did not disappear. Chapter 4: Persia and the New Dynasties. After Alexander's death, his empire fractured into several competing kingdoms. Persia came under the control of Seleucid Empire, a Greek-ruled state. But Greek control did not last forever. A new Iranian dynasty known as the Parthians eventually took over. For centuries, the Persian Empire became a major rival to the Roman Empire. Later, the Sasanian Empire replaced the Parthians and created a Persian state that lasted more than 400 years. During this era, Persia experienced a cultural revival. The Sasanians promoted Zoroastrianism, an ancient Persian religion centered on the struggle between good and evil. Persian art, architecture, and learning flourished once again, but a new force was rising in the Arabian Peninsula, and it would transform the entire region. Chapter 5: The Islamic Transformation. In the 7th century, Arab armies inspired by the new religion of Islam expanded rapidly across the Middle East. They defeated the Sasanian Empire and conquered Persia. This marked one of the most important turning points in Iran history. Over time, the majority of the Persian population converted to Islam. Yet Persian culture did not disappear. Instead, it blended with the new Islamic civilization. Persian scholars, poets, and scientists became some of the most influential thinkers in the Islamic world. The Persian language itself experienced a revival. The epic poem Shahnameh, written by the poet Ferdowsi, helped preserve the memory of the ancient Persian kings and heroes. Through literature, philosophy, and science, Persia continued shaping the intellectual life of the region. Chapter 6: The Safavid Revival. In the early 16th century, a new dynasty restored Persian political unity. This dynasty was known as the Safavid Empire. The Safavid rulers made a decision that would permanently shape Iran's identity. They declared Shia Islam the official religion of the state. This distinguished Persia from its powerful Sunni neighbors, including the Ottoman Empire. Under Safavid rule, cities like Isfahan became centers of art, architecture, and commerce. Magnificent mosques, palaces, and gardens transformed the city into one of the most beautiful capitals of the early modern world. Yet, like many empires before it, the Safavid state eventually declined. Persia once again entered a period of political instability. Chapter 7: The Birth of Modern Iran. By the 19th century, Persia faced increasing pressure from foreign powers. Both the British Empire and the Russian Empire competed for influence in the region. This geopolitical rivalry became part of what historians call the Great Game. Many Iranians grew frustrated with foreign interference and weak leadership. In the early 20th century, political reform movements began demanding modernization and national independence. Eventually, a military officer named Reza Shah Pahlavi seized power in 1925. He launched a series of reforms aimed at modernizing the country. Infrastructure expanded, education improved, and the state became more centralized. Then, in 1935, he asked foreign governments to begin using the name Iran instead of Persia. Although the name Iran had long been used inside the country, this decision marked a symbolic shift toward a modern national identity. Chapter 8: Revolution and the Modern State. In the decades that followed, Iran experienced rapid modernization under the Pahlavi monarchy. But these changes also created political tensions. Some people opposed the monarchy's authoritarian rule, others criticized its close ties with Western powers. By the late 1970s, protests spread across the country. In 1979, the Iranian Revolution overthrew the monarchy and replaced it with the Islamic Republic of Iran. Religious leader Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini became the central figure of the new government. The revolution transformed Iran's political system and reshaped its role in global politics. The story of the Iran history is the story of a civilization that has endured for thousands of years, from the ancient Persian Empire to the Islamic dynasties to the modern republic. Few nations have such a long and complex historical journey. This history documentary views how Persia became Iran and how the legacy of one of the world's greatest civilizations continues to shape the modern Middle East.